I'm about to tell you something that will either crush you or set you free. No one cares about you, and that is the best news you will hear all year. For years, that idea would have destroyed me. I lived like my whole world was a stage, and my happiness depended completely on the applause. I'd soften my own edges so I wouldn't offend anyone. I'd shrink my ambitions so I wouldn't be judged. My entire life was a performance for an audience that, as I learned from the Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius, wasn't even paying attention. But in that shattering realization, I didn't find despair. I found freedom. The freedom to finally stop performing and start living. The freedom to build a life on my own terms, not for anyone else's validation, but for my own soul. This isn't a story about being cynical, it's a story about being liberated. Before this all clicked, my life was just a constant low-grade hum of anxiety. You know that feeling, right? That little calculation you do in your head before you speak, weighing how your words are going to land. It's that deep exhaustion that hits after a party, not from the fun, but from the work of being agreeable, of being easy to like. You walk into a room and leave pieces of yourself at the door, just hoping that the edited version you're presenting will be enough. That's the tyranny of the phantom audience. We live like we're under constant watch, with every move being judged and graded. We chase a promotion not because we love the work, but because we want the title. We post our lives online not really to share a moment, but to collect validation through likes and comments. We over-explain every decision, trying to justify ourselves to people who are honestly just busy thinking about their own lives. Living this way slowly chips away at who you are. You become a ship without a rudder, tossed around by the changing winds of other people's opinions. Your own inner voice, that gut feeling, gets fainter and fainter until it's just a whisper under the noise of everyone else's expectations. You end up a stranger to yourself. You get so good at pleasing everyone else that you forget what you actually want. The real price of living for approval isn't just your peace of mind, it's your own identity. My turning point came from a line in the private journals of a Roman emperor. Marcus Aurelius, a man who lived on the biggest stage imaginable, wrote something to himself that went like this: "The opinion of 10,000 men is of no value if none of them know anything about the subject. You are the subject." Just let that idea sit with you for a second. The opinion of 10,000 people is worthless if they aren't an expert on the one thing that matters: you. And who's the only expert on your values, your character, your journey? It's you, only you. That realization hit me like a tidal wave. My entire life I had been handing over my self-worth to a committee of people who weren't even qualified to have an opinion. I was begging for applause from an audience that wasn't even paying attention. The world's indifference wasn't a personal attack. It wasn't a sign that I was failing. It was just a neutral fact. And in that neutrality, I found a hidden gift: permission. Permission to stop explaining, permission to stop seeking, permission to turn inward and start the real work of building a life based on my own scorecard. The silence I was so afraid of wasn't abandonment. It was a wide open space where I could finally start to build something real. Accepting that no one cares isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the foundation you can build a new life on, one pillar at a time. The first freedom you get is the death of the performer. When you stop scanning every room for approval, you can finally speak in your own voice. You might share a bold opinion, and instead of anxiously looking for nods, you just state your truth and let it be. You start to realize that most people aren't dissecting your words after you leave. Why? Because they're too busy worrying about what you thought of them. You stop editing yourself just to keep the peace. You no longer say yes when your entire body is screaming no. You realize that people-pleasing isn't kindness. It's a form of self-abandonment that comes from fear. Authenticity starts the moment you put your own integrity above other people's comfort. This doesn't make you a cold person, it makes you a real one. And the paradox is, it's this realness that builds the deepest, most genuine connections, relationships based on honesty, not a performance. The second freedom is reframing what failure means. When your self-worth is tied to what others think, every no feels like a final verdict on your value. A failed project or a rejection letter isn't just an event, it's a personal indictment. But once you accept the world's indifference, rejection stops being an attack. It just becomes information. It's redirection. Your big work pitch fails, and the client doesn't even bother with feedback. The old you would spiral for weeks, wondering what went wrong, feeling completely overlooked. The new you understands that no one is losing sleep over your proposal. Their no isn't a judgment of your worth, it's a data point. The project wasn't the right fit, the timing was off. That's it. And with that knowledge, you're free. You're free to get back to work, not to prove anyone wrong, but to improve for your own sake. You stop wasting energy guessing what's in other people's heads, just like Marcus Aurelius warned against. Rejection is no longer a wall, it's a signpost, pointing you down a different path that's a better fit for you. The third freedom comes from the power of quiet action. For years, you thought you had to explain yourself, to justify your choices, to make a loud case for your own existence. You thought if you didn't, people would fill that silence with their own negative stories. But a Stoic mindset teaches you that true power isn't in what you say, it's in what you do. As you stop over-explaining, you start acting with quiet conviction. You learn to set boundaries not with big, angry speeches, but with calm resolve. When someone makes a last-minute demand on your time, you don't feel the need to invent a bunch of excuses. You just say, "I can't do that." You let your no stand on its own, without an apology. Their reaction isn't your responsibility. Protecting your own peace is. Epictetus taught that no person is free who is not master of themselves. By mastering that impulse to explain and justify everything, you reclaim your freedom. Your actions become the signal, and everyone else's opinions just become noise. You develop a stronger presence because your energy is no longer scattered everywhere. It's centered and intentional. The final and maybe the most profound freedom is how you see solitude. For a people pleaser, being alone is terrifying. It feels like proof of their deepest fear, that they're unwanted, unseen, and uncared for. But when you let go of needing an audience, solitude turns into something else entirely. It becomes your sanctuary. It's in those quiet moments, working on a project no one will ever see, pushing through a workout with no one there to impress you, that your real character is built. You internalize a powerful truth. No one might care about your private struggles, but people will respect the person who turns that pain into discipline, and the tangible results start to follow. You take on that project you were always too scared to start. You have the difficult conversation you've been putting off for years. You walk away from relationships that force you to be smaller. You start to build. You build a business, a skill, a family, a body, not as trophies to show off for public approval, but as monuments to your own discipline and resolve. You start living a life where, just as Marcus Aurelius hoped, it would still be worth living even if no one ever saw or praised you for it. That right there? That's psychological sovereignty. It's the quiet, indestructible power that comes from realizing you never needed the world's applause in the first place. You only ever needed your own. The realization that no one cares isn't some harsh truth meant to break you. It's the key that unlocks your chains. It's the most liberating realization you can have. The world isn't watching. The world isn't judging. The world is indifferent. And that indifference is a gift. It's the space, the silence, and the freedom you need to finally build a life that is authentically, unapologetically your own. The great work of your life isn't to get the world to care about you. It's to build a life so aligned with your soul that you don't need them to. If this message resonates with the journey you are on, share your commitment in the comments below. Write, "My freedom begins now." Freedom.